what's going on, everybody? Dadbots is in here. Welcome back to the channel. We're here with another video about the C8, more specifically the C8 Z06. As you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about the C8 Z06 destroying the supercar market and like the stigma of the supercar, like of the supercar owner, stuff like that. So I'm really excited about this video because obviously, huge Corvette fan. If you guys seen my other videos, I'm completely in love with the C8. I'm super excited for mine to come in. I've been waiting a long time for it. Should be here soon. At least that's what I'm told. Whew. But I also have reservations down already for the Z06. So just know I'm here. I'm buying the cars that I'm talking about. So let's get this process rolling. All right. I'm not just some guy spewing these numbers out. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it with you guys. So let's just talk about the C8 Z06. What we know so far, obviously, the release date hasn't been up yet. It's going to be later this month. I'm super excited for it. But we did see the spy shots, and GM released a few pictures of like what the C8 Z06 is going to look like, with like the base model, not the Z07 package, no wing, like nothing crazy like that, but just kind of like the base Z06. Now, granted, I think that the picture they put out there was horrible, but it's kind of it drew controversy. So for the GM marketing, good for you. You guys made the whole world talk about it. Like, that's it. But we all know there's going to be something more to it. Okay, but let's talk about the Z06. So we're assuming the price point is going to be around 85 grand starting, maybe 95 grand starting MSRP. Jeez, it's cars, huh? My house is right on the road, so obviously you can hear all that. So again, 85, 95 grand starting MSRP. What we do know is it's supposed to be around, our best judgment is a 615 horsepower flat plane crank engine, which means it can rev out to 8,000, 9,000 RPM. It's going to be absolutely insane. It sounds like a Ferrari. It's wild. It's got the dual clutch transmission that with the C8 Stingray, we've all been proven like how awesome it is, how quick it shifts. That's what gives you the great 0 to 60 time, stuff like that. But like that, the biggest thing with the C8 Stingray was, yeah, 0 to 100. That thing's awesome, but it's lacking the power up top, where the Z06 is going to, we all hope, and I would assume, is going to take care of that. Obviously the ZR1 will take that to a whole nother level, but the Z06 is going to be a great car. If GM, I mean, I don't think they would go backwards, so they're going to release a great car. We all know it. Everyone's excited for it. The whole world's excited for it. But yeah, so I mean, that's crazy. So we'll say, like, even if you don't have to pay over, we'll say probably like 85 to 130 grand is probably a good range for this car. What it's going to cost, right? So let's talk about the stigma with supercars. Everyone thinks, one, you have to be extremely wealthy or rich or have a ton of money to own one. Or, I mean, that part could be true, because they do cost a lot. I mean, most of them are like, especially if you're looking new, but even used, over 200,000, especially with the market today, which the market today is higher than I've ever seen, and it's blowing my mind, but it is what it is. So over 200K to get a, you know, a supercar, which is wild, because I mean, you look at the Huracan, the R8, the other Ferraris, you have McLarens, all over that price point now for new. This car, if it actually does come out of that price point, it's going to destroy that stigma where you're getting like a supercar performance. Now, granted, the C7 Z06, C7 ZR1, you weren't paying $200,000 for them new, and you still got supercar performance, but now it fits the exotic. You know, it's mid-engine now. It looks exotic. People literally are like, is that a Ferrari? Is that a McLaren? No, it's a Corvette. Like, it fits. Like, they've checked all the boxes. Now with the Z06, the horsepower box is going to be checked. The exotic sound with the flat plane crank, check. So it's going to be awesome. So like that stigma where you need to have 200,000 is kind of going to get shattered, I think. Just because, at least for like a newer one, obviously you can buy an older Ferrari or an older Lamborghini, like a Gallardo or something like that. But then with those cars, supercars, comes a lot of maintenance, a lot of, you know, issues come up. Technology back then is definitely not what it was now. So if you can get, you know, supercar performance, supercar / exotic look, and brand new with warranty and all that stuff for you know, we'll say 130 max, maybe 150. I mean, still, that's crazy. Like that's awesome. It's going to destroy the other car market, because like, why, if you are someone that wants a car that is flashy, looks like an exotic, it's mid-engine, performs great, sounds great, it just does everything really well. Oh, and also it's going to have a warranty, and just, we haven't been released this, but if it has the same space as the C8, it's got a frunk and a trunk, more space, more than what you could say for a Huracan. I mean, it's going to be cool. And one thing I guarantee you it's going to have over Lamborghini is cup holders, and it's not an extra option to get a cup holder. So I mean, why would someone spend the money other than just to have the name, or they just have so much money they're like, I don't care, I want a Lamborghini? If you're buying it based off those price points, the Z06 makes the most sense. And now, granted, the Z06, it's not a cheap car. You know, 85 to 130 grand, that's still a ton of money. Like, that is a lot of money. I want to make that clear. It is a ton of money. It's, you know, it's a lot. I mean, most cars are like 40 grand now, 50 grand. Trucks are like 80 grand for some reason now. But still, I mean, it's a lot of money, but you're getting a great bang for your buck. Whereas why would you spend, you know, the 200 some thousand when you can spend 100, half of that, and you know what I mean, and get the looks, the performance, everything. So that's one reason why I think the Z06 is going to destroy the supercar market and kind of get rid of the stigma where you got to be rich. I mean, you do have to have money to get a Z06, but you don't have to be like filthy rich. Like, you're not spending house money on the car. Well, I guess some houses, but you know what I'm trying to say. A lot of people are actually, this comes to my second point, a lot of people are actually selling their supercars. So I'm in all the Corvette forums. I've seen people, and also in like all the exotic car forums. I'm a big fan of all the cars, and I see people really listing their cars for sale to get the Stingray, to get the C8 Stingray. They're selling their Huracans, they're selling R8s, they're selling GTRs, they're selling Ferraris. You know, they're like, I really want a Stingray. If I get one, I don't really need this one supercar. Because a lot of people, if you are fortunate enough to afford a supercar, you don't want to buy 2 or 3 of them, right? So, like, why would you keep paying for maintenance on a McLaren or maintenance on a Lambo when you can sell it, make more money from selling it, and buy a cheaper car that has cheaper maintenance? But I mean, not exactly the same performance, but it's close. And that's just with the Stingray. So, with a lot of people doing that for the Stingray, I can only imagine how many are going to do it for the Z06. I mean, it's going to be wild. Now, granted, it is a first generation engine for Corvette, so you don't know. I mean, it could be amazing, it could be bulletproof, it could, no issues, or it could turn into a nightmare. And we all hope it's not the nightmare scenario, but if it is, you have the warranty there. You have a warranty there for a reason. So, an extended warranty on a Corvette is not $5,000 a year like it is on a McLaren. On the 12C McLaren, to be specific. So, the very, very first base model McLaren. So, that it's crazy, but it is what it is. But the third and final reason, like, that really gets me is, now granted, all these points are from if you are looking for the best bang for your buck. Okay? So, obviously, if you're like, I just want a Huracan or I want a Lamborghini, you're going to spend the money for that. Like, this video is probably not going to talk you out of it. But if you're going for the best bang for your buck, dollar per dollar, dollar for performance, for look, for all that, checking all the boxes, the Z06, I think, has it. And the biggest thing that's going to weigh into this is the tuning capabilities. Now, granted, we cannot tune the Stingray yet. That sucks. It's awful. I made a whole video on it, talking about how GM needs to unlock that ECU, or at least help someone figure out the password, the magic code, whatever it needs to get done, because once that happens, the car is going to be great. But I just say, for instance, that someone does jailbreak or get into the ECU of a Z06, right? If you can do that, you now have a car that's flat plane crank, sounds like it, that's NA, flat plane crank NA, 600 some horsepower, sounds like a Ferrari, rose out to 9,000, 8,000 RPM, but then you can throw turbos. Now, turbos on a car make all cars better, in my opinion. And it's basically in all the opinion of people that modify Huracans, R8s, any kind of racing, everybody agrees that, like, hey, twin turbo cars, that's the way to go. I mean, look at GTRs, I mean, everything. Okay? So, but if you can twin turbo a Z06, right? If you can tune it and you can twin turbo it, let's say you had that in mind, so you didn't, you just planned for it. So say your car costs you 100 grand, your Z06 costs you $100,000. Let's just say that for easy of numbers. Most turbo kits for these kind of cars are like 25 to 30 grand, but we're gonna throw a 10 grand in extra safe net for it. Okay, so say you need an extra 10 grand. So say to get your C8 Z06 twin turboed is going to be $40,000. So right now you're into the car 100 grand, 40 grand, $140,000. $140,000 will most likely get you, because with the capability of the turbos, if it can be fully tuned, you're probably right at 1,000 horsepower, if not more. So 140 grand, 1,000 horsepower, or you spend 200 grand and you get like 600. So you're saving 60 grand by going with the Z06 and twin turboing it, and you're gaining 400 to double or even more of the horsepower of the car that you were of, like another exotic. So I mean, that blows my mind. Like, that's crazy. Like, if you were going for numbers, like, you're strictly going best bang for your buck for the performance. If this car, getting all worked up here, this car can get tuned, it is going to be absolutely insane. If you're going for best bang for your buck, nothing's going to be able to beat this. And I think that's also kind of a reason why GM is not unlocking the Stingray, because people will figure that out, and people will be like, well, why would I buy a Z06 instead of just twin turboing a Stingray, which I don't like. It is a price point for power, but for sound and everything, it's different, because flat plane crank versus a pushrod V8 sound completely different. I think that that will be more of a mark on like the Z06 to ZR1. That'd be more of the debate there. But yeah, I mean, if 140, we'll even say 150, even 160 grand will get you 1,000 to 1,200 horsepower or more C8 Z06 versus getting a stock Huracan, Audi R8. Well, I mean, some R8s you can get in the 150 mark, or lower, but we'll just, I guess it is what it is. Still, you're paying the same price for stock power. But then you have McLarens well over 200. You have Ferraris well over 200. So you're getting the performance of almost double what those cars are, and you're paying, 3/4 of the cost or half the cost. I don't know. It's going to be weird. But if I was a representative of McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferrari, I'd be like, hey, we need to figure something out, like, quick, because if that's possible, this is going to be a rough road. Now, and see, the thing is, it hasn't happened. This isn't the first time this has happened to them before. Now, I'm not sure how long you guys have been following the automotive community, or if you're into racing, or you're just here just because you like the C8, or you just like Corvettes, right? But you're not really into the racing. This all happened to Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, all of them before. Now, McLaren kind of came into the game after it happened, but you'll understand what I'm saying when I mention it. The GTR. The Nissan GTR was released at a price point of, I believe it was like $80,000 to $90,000, like in 2009. Which, a ton of money, still. But it was released at that amount of money, and then the tuning capabilities of that car created what the world now knows as Godzilla. I mean, that car is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, now those cars are holding the fastest cars in the world times. You know, at like Texas 2K, Florida 2K, stuff like that. I was just at a Pocono Raceway race motive event. The GTRs up there were absolutely flying, and like the heavy hitter GTRs, like the 2,000 plus horsepower GTRs, didn't even come out. Like it was like the up to 2,000, maybe like just over. But like I know there was one GTR that was supposed to be making over 3,000 horsepower. Didn't even leave the trailer because it was like foggy and misting out. It's like not worth it, not worth wrecking. We gotcha. But what I'm trying to get at is the C8 Z06 could be the next Godzilla. Like this could be the American version of saying, hey, you other exotics, screw you guys, we can do this better than you for less money. So hang on and check out what we can do. That's what I think is possibly going to happen. So, I mean, if all those things come true, or even some of those things come true, the C8 Z06 is literally going to destroy the supercar market, and it's going to destroy this stigma where you got to be a millionaire to own a supercar. Like, I mean, people that go out and get work trucks, well, not really work trucks, they're like platinums, like F350 Platinum or whatever, that's a $100,000 truck. Well, now $100,000 gets you a C8 Z06. That's a supercar. So you see what I'm saying? It's when you bring it in like that, it's like, oh wow, it's not that outlandish. This car could really mess up this car market, and you're gonna see a lot of crazy things happen. But Chevy's just they have to hit every point, and they gotta give it their all. I mean, I don't assume they would not give it their all, because they have the world spotlight in the automotive community is on Chevy. It's like October 24th or 26th of the reveal. Like, it's there. The whole world's watching, waiting for this, because they know how big this could be. Chevy, don't screw it up. This is balls in your court. Please make this car crazy. And for anyone that's like interested, or you just had a thought, maybe you would want a Z06, or you just wanted to learn more information about it, stay tuned. This car's going to be crazy. If you think you want one, try to get your reservation in now, because MSRP is going to be out of the question, I think, with this car. I think there's going to be very select few dealers that will sell at MSRP, but you're probably going to see 50 grand, 60 grand over MSRP, this car being sold, which then will put in like the 200,000 mark. If like say $130,000 MSRP car, they had 60 grand, now you're 190. This is going to be nuts. Everyone, buckle your seatbelts, enjoy the ride, and let's see what Chevy can do. I'm going to make another video again in like less than 30 days from now, after the reveal, and we're going to go and see what I said was right. I'll revamp it with the new specs, or what we know is supposed to be the exact specs of the car. But for now, stay tuned. I hope you all are excited as I am, and hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you did like today's video, make sure you smash that like button. Definitely subscribe. Tell anyone and everyone you know to hop on the Dad Bod Season train. Join the Dad Bod Season family, and I'll see you guys next time. Dad Bod Season out.